Jason Voorhees, violent and brutal mass murderer who goes around horrifically killing off the horny teenagers of Camp Crystal Lake. Thanks to his cinematic onslaught of Friday the 13th movies, the hockey mask-wearing boogeyman has sliced and diced his way into the hearts of fans of the slasher movie genre, and has earned his spot as being one of the most recognisable horror movie icons.
Yo man, it's cool man, it's cool.
And throughout Jason's career, we've not only seen him terrorise Camp Crystal Lake, but also Manhattan, along with taking on Freddy Krueger, Kevin Bacon, not to mention the fact we've also seen him in 3D, and we've even seen Jason in space. Yeah. You see, the other day I went to Melbourne Comic Con, and while I was there, I actually bumped into Jason. And he told me he wasn't happy that I've made videos about Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers, but haven't made one about him. So he said that I'd better make one and better make it a good one, or otherwise shit will be getting serious. Yeah, Jason Voorhees actually does talk a lot. I mean, once you peel back the layers, he's actually a really kind, sensitive guy. So anyway, with that, 10 things that you might not know about Jason Voorhees. Watch. This. Number 10. Jason wasn't intended to be the main antagonist of the series. When both Freddy and Michael Myers started in their first movies, their characters were pretty much created as they were going to be from the get-go. But with the Friday the 13th film series, it took a while to figure out that Jason was going to be the main driving force of the series, along with his iconic look. In the very first movie, the main villain is indeed Jason Voorhees' mother, with Jason making a cameo at the end of the movie. In fact, the sequel, Friday the 13th Part 2, wasn't even meant to be a direct sequel to the original movie, but rather the franchise was meant to be an anthology series, based on the superstitions of the date Friday the 13th. Much like what they tried to do with the Halloween series with Halloween 3. But due to the popularity of the ending of the original Friday the 13th, it was decided to base the sequel on the strange and terrifying Jason Voorhees. Although in this entry, Jason had what looked like a potato sack on his head with only one little hole cut out for him to see through, making him look like one goofy movie villain. I kind of feel like maybe they were trying to make him look like a scarecrow, but I don't know. It was only finally with the arrival of Friday the 13th 3D that Jason's character had been fully realised, complete with now hugely iconic hockey mask. So yep, it took 3 movies for them to get it right. Number 9. Jason's name originally wasn't Jason. Yep, although the name Jason Voorhees has become recognisable in the staple of horror pop culture, his name wasn't originally going to be called Jason. But in fact, in the original script of the first movie, his name was Josh. So yeah, everyone be aware of serial killer Josh Voorhees. Maybe I'm just used to the name Jason, but I don't know. The name Josh Voorhees just doesn't have that ring to it. Thankfully, the name was changed from Josh to Jason, on the account that it was decided Josh didn't sound threatening enough. Although Friday the 13th was originally going to be called Long Night at Blood Camp, which is just weird. Number 8. Jason wasn't intended to be deformed. It's common knowledge that underneath Jason's hockey mask and potato sack lies some truly hideous deformities, hence the need for Jason to hide his face. However, in the original Friday the 13th script, Jason was just meant to be a normal, average-looking kid. It was only when legendary effects makeup artist Tom Savini got on the case that he decided to give the character hideous deformities, which definitely makes the Jason scene in the original movie more horrific, and stand out more in general. Number 7, Friday the 13th had a TV series which didn't feature Jason. Yep, Jason Voorhees didn't even get to star in his own TV series and was completely snobbed off from the show altogether. Man, talk about a tough break. No wonder Jason is so pissed off. The Friday the 13th TV series came out in the late 80s, in the height of the popularity of the movie series, and instead of focusing on Jason, the series instead focuses on, an antique store where haunted relics are kept. Yeah, of course. I mean, if I was to watch a Friday the 13th TV series, that's what I would want to see. I mean, to hell with Jason Voorhees. Some old fart antique store is where the real excitement is at. I mean, talk about completely screwing up and getting it wrong. No wonder this show has been dusted over into pop cultural forgetfulness. Bottom line is, if you have a TV show called Friday the 13th, then you best darn have Jason Voorhees in it. Idiots. Number 6, the truth behind the kill, 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 die, die, die sound effect. Any Friday the 13th fan will remember the familiar, iconic kill, 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 die, die, die soundbite associated with the series. In fact, it might just be the first thing that people think of when they think of the series, or Jason Voorhees for that matter. But according to composer Harry Manfredini, the chilling score was actually meant to sound like kill, 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 mum, 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 in that the sound was meant to be symbolic of what Jason's mother is hearing in her head, the eerie voices of Jason telling her to kill people. So, who'd have thought that one of the most popular horror movie sound effects was meant to represent a middle-aged lady's schizophrenia, and that it was Jason speaking these words? Number 5, the secrets of Jason's father. Although Jason's mother is a prominent figure, not only in the Friday the 13th film series, but also the Jason Voorhees mythos in general. But we never really hear about Jason's father. However, in the comic books, we do get to learn a little bit about Jason's father, which gives us more insights into why Jason is the way he is. We learn that Jason's father is called Elias Voorhees, and that he was one nasty bastard. He was both heavily built and intimidating, and also had a hatred for his son Jason. And it's even hinted in the comics that Jason's supernatural abilities stem genetically from his father, Elias. Elias was a simple man, yet a very physically strong one, and had a total disregard and hatred of his son, which kinda makes sense and shows why Jason's mother is so damn protective of him. Number 4, Jason had his own video game. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Nintendo game system was a must-have household accessory for kids all over the world. And who else better to make a video game about than the brutal mass murderer killer Jason Voorhees, where we get the 1989 Friday the 13th video game, where a purple-suited and blue-masked Voorhees preys on the 8-bit teenagers of Camp Crystal Lake. So the object of the game is to survive and save your friends without getting killed by Jason. But if that wasn't bad enough, the poor kids of Camp Crystal Lake also have to avoid blood-sucking bats, zombies, and wolves. Well, to be fair, whenever I watch a Friday the 13th movie, I always find myself saying, there should be more wolves and blood-sucking bats. Yeah, needless to say, this wasn't one of the most popular games in the Nintendo lineup and never really took off with the youngsters. However, it's not a complete bad ending, as in this year, a new Friday the 13th video game was released for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. And by the looks of it, it seems to be a lot more faithful to the movies, and the game that Friday the 13th fans finally deserve. Just as long as there are no bats or zombies in there. Number 3, Jason versus the celebrities. Over the course of the Friday the 13th series, we actually see Jason and his mother come face to face with many would-be celebrities, including Kevin Bacon, who starred in the very first entry. But his dreams of footloose dancing were literally cut short when young Bacon gets stabbed in the throat. Then jump to Friday the 13th 4, and this time George McFly, aka Crispin Glover, is in the action. But any plans of telling Lorraine Baines that he is her density are stopped, as he gets a cleaver to the face. Even Corey Feldman starred in one of the Friday the 13th movies, before his days of starring in hits such as The Gremlins, Goonies, and Stand By Me. All this might sound weird, but at least it's not weird as having Paul Rudd in a Halloween movie. No joke, that happened. Madness. Number 2, Jason Voorhees had his own James Bond style introduction. Okay, now this is just weird. Like, really weird. But if Jason did talk more often, he probably wouldn't be saying kill, 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 die, 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 but instead saying, my name's Voorhees, Jason Voorhees, while ordering a vodka martini. As in Friday the 13th 6, it was decided, for some reason, to start the movie with a James Bond styled intro, where just like the James Bond gun barrel intro, we see Voorhees walk into the screen before attacking with his machete, where blood then pours onto the screen, in an odd and out of place but still funny 007 tribute. Because Lord knows, you think slick, sophisticated British spy, and you think Jason Voorhees, right? So at the start of the movie, we see these two doofuses bringing Jason back to life by the mystical power of bullshit storytelling, where Jason's first act is opening up a can of whoop-ass before going all James Bond on us. And if you don't think this looks James Bondish, just watch this scene with a few minor adjustments. A very cheesy scene for a wonderfully fun, cheesy movie. Number 1, Freddy Krueger might have abused Jason as a kid. Ever since Freddy Krueger's arm appeared at the end of Jason Goes to Hell in 1993, delighted horror movie fans had been eagerly anticipating this epic movie villain showdown, which didn't actually happen until a long, grueling 11 years later, with the cinematic release of Freddy vs. Jason, which was released in 2004. However, in the original script, there was a much more darker element added to the story, which would have taken the movie into all kinds of disturbing territories, in which it would have been revealed that before Freddy's death, he worked as a counselor at Camp Crystal Lake and had sexually abused young Voorhees before his drowning incident. Which I got to admit, I'm glad they cut that out the final story, as it just would have taken the movie into really dark territories. I mean, it's always been softly hinted that Krueger may be a child molester in the original series, but when you downright make it clear that he is one, I don't know, it just kind of takes the fun out of the movie and goes into really dark areas. Well, that's my opinion anyway. Well guys, that was my look into Jason Voorhees. May he continue to terrify us all with his brutal antics and hockey mask of doom. It's not hard to see why he's one of the most loved cinematic boogeymen ever, and he is definitely the most brutalist of them all. No, seriously, watch Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy kills one person in that film, whereas Jason is killing people all over the damn place. Anyway, I'm Minty and I'm off to get a purple jumpsuit and blue hockey mask so I can cosplay the funky NES rendition of Jason Voorhees. See ya.